Today, we're going to cover a Chinese toy company that has ascended to global dominance by selling small fluffy figurines in a blind box format. Yes, I'm talking about the toy maker Pop Mart, better known as the maker of Labubu, a quirky, ugly, cute monster with oversized ears that has become a global phenomenon, and a primary driver to the company's recent explosive growth. The Labubu effect propelled Pop Mart's founder, Wang Ning, into the ranks of China's wealthiest individuals, underscoring how a single IP can function as a powerful cultural export and financial engine. This episode will examine Pop Mart's humble origins, its innovative business model, and delve into the intricate mechanisms behind its success. We will also explore the company's financial performance and the potential challenges it faces as it pursues global expansion.
We're your host. I'm Pan.
And I'm Linda. And welcome to Ascent.
Well, as a diehard Jellycat fan, aka Fluffy Toys, with a lot of certainty, not uncertainty, when I first started researching for this topic, I couldn't really wrap my mind around why would people even get interested in this. Did you ever buy any Pop Mart before?
I have.
Oh, you have?
But never Labubu. And only because, not for myself actually, for friends and for family, for my cousins.
Naturally.
Because they're kind of all over the place. If you walk around Beijing, in any mall, you will see a Pop Mart. There's often a lot of people in it. So you'd be naturally attracted to just walk around. And then you end up getting something because it's like 69 renminbi, which is $10. Yeah. So I got a Harry Potter, I think. And then I got a Wednesday. Like US IPs. Yeah.
Right. And then the oftentimes the two conflicting thoughts that I have every time I pass a Pop Mart, I think, which we'll cover later, is first, will the value of Pop Mart sustain? We have seen some very long-lasting IPs, like one of my favorites, Hello Kitty from Sanrio. Right? There's also Harry Potter, right?
Pokemon.
Yeah. Oh, of course, the yellow rat, right?
Yeah.
And
I'm not sure if people accept the rats.
But lightning bolt sending rat. But the other voice also rings in my head often, which is, will it crash? Do I think it's a bubble? We've seen the 2025 first half financial report release. I think it's sending a lot of very positive signals. So I'm constantly torn in between the two opinions.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think when we pick this topic, just for audience's context, neither of us are Pop Mart fans, to say the least.
Jellycat fan.
Yeah, like we were like, why?
Yeah.
Why are people so crazy? We're in that camp. Why are people crazy about Labubus? I don't get it. As research goes on, I think every single week I would be like, hi Pan, I found out something amazing about this company. So I'm now a fan. I spent 2 hours 2 nights ago after 12 p.m. researching on how to get a Labubu and failed. And now I really want a Labubu.
Oh my God.
So this research I've converted because of all the information that we're going to share with you in this episode.
Wow.
So I don't know how much conversions we're going to get out of our listeners, but I personally converted.
Okay, you can still convince me. I'm not converted quite yet, but spoiler alert, I'll just share my conclusion first. I still can't say that I completely understand why Labubu has such valuation and people are going crazy about it, but I've grown to be a fan of Wang Ning, the CEO, and the team.
Yeah,
I think
too.
those are really cool people.
Yeah.
Like that they know what they're doing, and then they're really trying to do something with pop culture, pop art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting. It's if you look at we look at the webinar, right, in Q2 for the latest financial statements, it's just 7 guys who are in their 30s or maybe 40s in black suits sitting in a row, very serious guys. They're like, I think they're all introverts, it feels like. And in front of them, between every 2 guy, there's either a Labubu or a Molly.
The contrast. Yeah. And then Wang Ning pulls out a mini Labubu and say, oh, this can go onto your phone. And everyone just explodes. It's so cute. Shall we dive back to the very humble beginning that they had many years ago?
How did they start? He, unlike a lot of the previous episodes we've covered, he didn't graduate from a prestigious school in China. It was a decent school in Henan province, in Zhengzhou. And he came from an entrepreneur family. And so during his school years, his uni years, he tested a couple of business ventures on his own. So the first one that I've read about is during Frosh Week, he would film people kind of creating memories. And then he would put them on a CD and resell them to classmates. That generated some decent income, good enough for like a first year uni student.
There were about more than 4,000 new students every year, and he sold that DVD to 2,000 students.
Wow.
And every DVD is sold at about $1, which is 5 to 8 kwai. So that's a sizable income for a college student. About the school that he went to, it's called the CIAS College, right? And he majored in advertising very early on. Interesting fact about CIAS College, it is a US and China joint collaboration college program that later got acquired by Zhengzhou University. Super interesting. And then that school supports students to go in for new projects and doing business. And Wang Ning claimed that no one stopped him from doing anything, and everyone was doing some sort of entrepreneurial adventures.
That's actually very rare for Chinese universities because most other university would be all about academics, right?
And ask you to study a hell lot when you're in college.
Yeah. Like if they find out that you're doing ventures outside of class, the teachers might like scorn at the action, but interesting.
Yeah. With the very successful first attempt in selling VCDs and DVDs, him and his fellow classmates who were also in the club, aka Days Club, Day Studio, decided that, why don't we do another venture? Why don't we just open up a small storefront somewhere? In 2009, they started a very small retail store next door. And that concept is very similar to a designer retail store. And he also rent the other part of that store he cannot use to other retailers to try to generate income.
The concept is actually quite popular during those years. It's something called a grid shop, which you divide up shop space into small boxes and you rent those boxes to people who are either kind of make their own things and want to sell them, but don't have enough money to rent an entire storefront.
Right.
So you're like a secondary market.
Yeah, you're like an Etsy offline. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a good comparison.
He was trying to incorporate new ideas. I think that's when he discovered that Sunny Angel, right, from the Dreams Company, that started in 2004, he decided to feature that particular item into that store. And what is Sunny Angel? I am personally not a fan of any collectible toys. I did look at the photos, and it's naked angel boys.
It's like Cupid.
That will make you smile. They're quite cute.
They're quite cute. I talked to someone who used to collect Sunny Angels, and she said that once you collect them, you can't resell them because on an online channel, some of the images of Sunny Angel would be categorized as like naked.
Oh. Okay, that's the problem.
So the platforms would actually like prevent you from putting the pictures on. So it's like actually not that good idea to keep it when the online shop started. Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, the grid store that he had, which later became the beginning of Pop Mart, he sold the grid store for about 200k RMB, which roughly translated into 30k US dollar. And that was the initial fund for Pop Mart, the store.
It's really decent for a university startup with almost, I'm guessing, zero investment.
At that time, that's a very large amount of money, right? Just by doing retail.
My parents would be proud if I made that much during university.
After he graduated from the college, he actually tried to look for jobs in companies and find an internship.
Like most people.
Yeah, like most people. Like, why don't I just get a job? He did online education platform, and he worked very briefly in Sina, Xinlang. And he also tried to look for jobs in Shanghai. But mind you, this is post-financial crisis Shanghai. He sent out CVs to a couple of employers, 6 of them, and allegedly 5 of them got back and say, you can come back to the interview next week. He doesn't have any proper suit, so he thought at the time that he should just get one. And someone recommended that, you should go to Hanglong Plaza in Shanghai to get the suit tailor-made for you. It is a very high-end retail store. He said, quote, I couldn't even afford a tie there. His friend also told him that if you can't afford that, maybe you can go to HLA, Hailanzhizhia, which priced a suit at 1,000 kuai. And of course, there are also the cheaper ones next door, just at a street across a grocery store. Eventually, he got the suit at 280. And many, many, many years afterwards, he opened a store in Hanglong Plaza. He mentioned that that was a very surreal moment, that this is a store at a place where I started, where I could even afford a whole suit then, and now I have a store there.
Ooh, revenge story. Yeah. Why did he start up a suit? Why did he open up a suit shop in a place that he couldn't afford to buy a suit at? It's like revenge, but a little bit like going out of your way to get revenge.
It is a very high-end retail store. Pop Mart's current storefronts are mostly located, like if you're looking at Beijing, mid-end, high-end, a lot of them are just at those property locations. Good for him. Dreams come true. Back to 2010, he did open his first Pop Mart store in Beijing, right? And
near where we work.
Super near where we work. Oh my God. I've actually been there, I think.
Oh, I know.
That place is called EC Mall, Omeihui. And he opened up that store in 2010, November 17th. And according to one of the co-founders, Liu Ran, now a director for Pop Mart, back in the days, we were so short on money that we need to pull the money from the ATM every day, and then we need to return what we've borrowed to the ATM machine by the end of the day. And there's one day that there's one piece of cash that has like an older edge that the machine couldn't read it. And if that money doesn't go into that machine, they're going to violate that borrowing rule. And the next day, the card will be frozen. And Liu Ran was so freaked out because it was so late. And then the bank was off. There's nobody around them. That means Wang Ning has to find an investor. There's absolutely no money. They have to hit. They don't have any money.
They were basically covering their expenses with credit every day.
They were, at the very beginning, when they were using their own money, there were many days when they were running shorts. By the book, as the executive director, Liu Ran, was recalling back in the days, there are so many nights that they have to go through the very short lendings and put it back.
Yeah.
And I think that also started to inspire Wang Ning to do cold calls and reaching out to potential investors.
Yeah. I think they set up their first shop with the money he earned back in school, right?
That's right.
And the ambition originally was to set up 3 more shops the year after.
That's right.
That never happened. They didn't make any. They were, I think he commented that they were the least profitable shop in the mall or in the block.
I believe that.
And so 2011 was the second year the store opened. They made pretty much zero profit, and they had to either turn to investors or shut down. And a lot of the employees actually who started with him left that year. And I think that's when he famously said, you can leave now and wait for me to go on TV. Or you can join me and continue this journey.
He said that, actually?
Yeah, something like along the lines.
God.
Yeah.
What a character.
He is a character, like a very introverted, but definitely stubborn about certain things, right? And so that's when not him particularly, he actually had a BD head whose name is Xiao Yang. And he's the one that actually cold emailed 200-300
A bunch of people, a bunch of investors.
Investors. A lot of them got back to them after hearing their elevator pitch. A lot of them rejected them, right? It's just a retail shop. And at that point, I think people are just hesitant about investing in a non-profitable retail shop with a lot of ambitions. And one other thing to note is back then it wasn't the Pop Mart as it is today. It was almost like a store that sells, it's a lifestyle boutique where you can get fluffy toys, you can get like pens and paper, you can get gift wraps, and that kind of stuff.
So it's a pop culture reseller kind of.
Ish, yeah. It's a gift shop where if you want to pick up a gift for your friend for tomorrow, you will go there and pick up some item and get it wrapped on the spot and then leave, right? So there's not much, I guess, barrier of entry in that sense, and they don't own any of the IPs back then. So it was hard getting investor attention, and understandably hard. But one investor in particular, and he got so much return out of Pop Mart by today, but honestly, I also question why he put in money for the 2012 Pop Mart. Right? He must have believed in the guy or the team versus the actual business model at that time.
Honestly, like every time I read that story, I feel like, well, is it his impulse buy? Like he sounds like he just so casually did that.
The amount of money is quite casual because it's 2 million RMB, right? So 280,000 USD, which for an angel investor, I don't know like his historical investment, but it could be a fairly smaller amount. Xiao Yang, which is Lino Xiao, I think his English name is Lino, according to LinkedIn, is the BD for Pop Mart at the time. He sent out a bunch of emails 6 months later, or I think 3 months later, not 6 months. 3 months later, he got a reply from Mai Gang, who probably either don't check his email that often or missed the email, right? In China, I think back then you can actually still get email replies because it's right around the edge of when WeChat started. So they were lucky. If they had tried the email route, it's not going to happen today. Mai Gang, the angel investor who also owns Venture Lab, which is an incubator, saw the email, decided to meet with them. At that point, they weren't looking for money for the Pop Mart retail shop because it was the age of internet. And they got so many people rejecting them for asking for money for the retail shop that they were like, okay, we're going to ask for money for our internet website, for our retail website. But we're going to use I think, I'm just making this up, I think they're going to actually use the money for the retail shop. And Mai Gang saw the investment proposal and was like, I'm not sure about the website that you guys are building. None of you have internet background. But I'm interested in your offline retail shop. Tell me more. Again, a little bit of impulsive buying. 3 days later, he sent them the money.
Wang Ning did take him to a lot of shops, and he was thoroughly enjoying the trip, like to all the couple shops that he is seeing. Yeah, but it's really fast. In 3 days of time, he decided to make the investment. 2 reasons. In hindsight, one is the amount of money they're asking is not super large, I guess. Actually, in Lionel Xiao's email, it says, we only want 3 million RMB. We only exclamation mark. So I think in the grand scheme of things, when you're asking for angel round investment, Series A investment, this is not particularly that big, right? So I think that probably propelled the decision. And I think Mai Gang also is he's a particular investor. He was also famously known for pitching Bitcoin and various blockchain to the investor community, and he got kicked out of WeChat groups because of that. So definitely a very particular investor as well. Very smart investment. So that's how they received their first angel round investment. And I think Mai Gang also mentioned that he actually had Venture Lab. He could have used Venture Lab as the facility to invest in Pop Mart, but he decided to use his own money because he was probably hesitant about using the group's money on this investment. 2013, Mai Gang was the key person to introduce more partners to invest in Wang Ning's venture project, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So after he invested, and as any angel investors would do, is to make sure that your investment grows in value. And so immediately he would introduce Wang Ning and his team to a bunch of venture capitals who can probably invest in more than 2 million RMB. So the first group he introduced Wang Ning to is a guy called Michael Tu. And he at the time worked at a place called QF Capital. Also not a super well-known VC investor, but decent funding. So QF Capital ended up investing 3 times as what Mai Gang invested, $6 million.
6 million RMB.
Oh, 6 million RMB. So about 850,000 US dollars. And that amount of money helped Pop Mart get by. There's actually a series of investments afterwards. So there's another company that invested in 2014 called Jingying. And Jingying is a retailer. And it was at some point the second largest shareholder with 18% stake.
Too bad they exited.
They exited prior to the company trying to get them listed on the new third board, which is the China's OTC board. But luckily, so Kevin Su Kai, who is Jingying's CEO, he made the decision early on in 2014 to make the investment. Although Jingying as a company dumped the shares, Su Kai as an investor actually moved to Sequoia Capital. And Sequoia Capital
invested in them.
Invested.
The Sequoia bit, which I think we'll come back to that later on because it's just so dramatic and so interesting. Promised, not promised, promised again. Hey, but okay, no spoiler.
Okay, stay tuned. We're going to go back to Sequoia because it's actually later on in the story. Another lady that really helped Wang Ning and Pop Mart is also Mai Gang's friend. Her name is Zhou Lixia. I couldn't find an English name, so Miss Zhou or Mrs. Zhou. Her investment firm is called Jinhui Feng, so let's call it JHF. She was introduced to Wang Ning, and instead of investing in Pop Mart right away, she actually conducted due diligence, a lot of due diligence, I think about 6 months. So she sent a team down to Pop Mart. And what they did, other than doing due diligence and getting their financial statement and whatnot, is to actually help the management team with how to do accounting, how to do proper inventory management with their financial operations, basically setting them up to the next level in running a retail company.
So important.
It is very important. And they did this kind of while they're deciding to invest in them. And after a few months of interactions, she actually had, because the office of JHF and Pop Mart was really close, they actually had a lot of interactions during those 6 months. And so obviously she saw the team and how impressive they were in adopting all the stuff that her team said was good to adopt, right? And so and this is the next investment, 2015, August 2015, she put in money.
And also, I think maybe it was her advice as well. Wang Ning, starting from 2014, went to Peking University for an MBA study, for like an official management study. So that happened in 2014.
Right.
And if not, then he wouldn't have known Justin Moon, which later on led the international department of the entire Pop Mart.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of management things are happening in between 2014 and 2015.
Right. So I think what happened is they got the initial funding from Mai Gang and from QF. They realized they need to up their management skills. And then they found JHF, which actually, along with the MBA program, helped them get into a systematic way of managing things. One other comment that Zhou Lixia, the lady, made was, at the time, Pop Mart actually licensed over 1,000 brands. And it was just a mess.
It's crazy.
And the financials were really weak because you had 1,000 brands to manage. And later on, as we know, then Pop Mart today managed less than 100 brands.
Yeah.
You have a story about this later on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also have a story about PKU MBA class of 2014.
Oh, let's get to that first.
Let's hear it. Before the managerial upgrade, Wang Ning went to Peking University, which is also very close to Pop Mart store at the time. They're all in Haidian district. Not only did he receive formal education, he also did two other things, which is play soccer and get to know a lot of people in the class, and it made those classmates his colleagues later on. His current executives, two of them, Yang Tao and Liu Ran, they're both from CS College. Three of the people who he is working very closely with on the team are from PKU MBA. One is the COO Side, who Wang Ning has met during soccer game, and the CFO Yang Jingbing is also a classmate from PKU MBA. Head of International Operations, Justin Moon, obviously, and they took their one of their classes together. Oh, and sorry, four of them. There's the head of Popland theme park project, Hu Jian, is also a classmate from PKU.
Wow.
So apparently, I think he's really charismatic. Like otherwise, those people, they're smart. They're working in their respective things. They wouldn't have joined him after that MBA period, right?
Right.
And
also join him in a venture that hasn't really made it.
Hasn't done anything. It was so barren at the time. There was nothing. It was really just a very small shop.
Yeah.
What's worth mentioning is Justin, in the later interviews, he disclosed that he was the only non-Chinese in the class. And during a class break, Wang Ning came to say hello to him proactively. We like that, right?
Yeah.
And the two of them eventually became friends, and Wang Ning actually asked him for two prior collaboration before Justin officially joined Pop Mart. 2017, when Pop Mart started, pushing forward RoboShop, which is the machine shop.
Like the vending machine.
The vending
Pop
machine.
Mart. The
That's
fancy
right.
one. Yeah.
That's right. And so Justin at the time was still affiliated with CJ Group, which is a huge conglomerate in Korea. Mm-hmm. So Wang Ning wants to collaborate with CJ and wants to put the RoboShop in the CJ operated movie theaters. So that's the first thing that they've collaborated. Done perfectly. The two of them, worked with each other. And then the second time is in 2018 May, Shanghai has a designer art toy exhibition that Pop Mart had initiated, and he invited CJ's food and beverage brands to join and be a event vendor. So for these two events, they get to know each other a little bit. It sounds very much like dating,
Yeah, it is. I think selecting your executive is about as much as chemistry as skills.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Of course, eventually Wang Ning dropped the word and said, Justin, do you want to join me in working? And Justin just replied, hey man, I'm 39.
What?
Literally that's what he said.
Okay.
He disclosed himself, I'm too old for startups. And Wang Ning then just replied to him, did you know there is a Chinese entrepreneur called Chu Shijian? He started his second startup when he's 70 years old. His first business is in tobacco, which is extremely legendary, and then his second startup is in an orange business, which is very cool. We can talk about that business later on. But he used that to encourage Justin. And to be honest, Justin feels a little moved. This is up and rising. This is China. Yeah. Justin replied that actually, for startups, I typically look at, a couple of factors. It has to be in the right industry, the right team, the leader, the vision, the passion, blah, blah, blah. But he rejected. Like he didn't say yes at first. He then talked to 60 friends and asked them, should I join the startup? Mm-hmm. And that 60 people included his wife. His wife is the only person who said, no, you should not join. Because
I need stable income for this household.
Which is reasonable. They have a kid. And as running your life in Beijing is not easy.
Of course.
But
being the only non-Chinese executive at that time, right?
Yeah. Just think about how it's a big shift, right? Like your income may suffer, your lifestyle may change, you have a kid, you have a lot of other logistics to take care of. So after 1.5 months, Justin changed his mindset, and he also managed to convince his wife that this is a good idea. August 2018, he joined. Yeah.
Isn't that a good choice, Justin?
Yeah.
Isn't that a good choice?
It's a pretty good.
But it is at the time, I think, a high risk, high reward investment in your life.
Absolutely.
But to be fair, so we talked about kind of their financials up to 2014-15. By 2017, they're already on the OTC board, which is a signal of getting into IPO at some point. And so 2018 is at a point where Pop Mart is beginning to look like a good company, right? Or not, like a company that will have a pretty solid growth trajectory. Molly, which I don't know if we're going to talk about, we can go through the storyline, but just a quick, I guess, spoiler. Molly, their first major IP, self-owned IP, was a huge hit in 2017. And so everything's looking solid when Justin joined.
Going back to the one event that they shifted to Molly.
Right.
That we should talk about right now.
Let's go back to Sunny Angels.
Sunny Angels, the troublemaker Sunny Angel. So in 2015, I think one particular incident that set Pop Mart off to a very different track, or should I say set them to the right track that they should be pursuing. So remember, Pop Mart before 2016 is only a very small retail store. They were trying to organize a vinyl toy exhibition in 2015, and Wang Ning wants to invite Sunny Angel to be a part of the exhibition, actually a key part of that exhibition. However, the relationship between Pop Mart and Sunny Angel wasn't good enough such that Sunny Angel would just join very casually. They were rejecting this idea all the time. But for Pop Mart, Sunny Angel accounts for about 1/3 of the revenue at the time.
Yep.
So if Dreams, the mother company of Sunny Angel, were to refuse to participate in that exhibition, it is devastating for Wang Ning because no one will come. They did so many rounds of negotiation. Wang Ning even went to the Japan office just to convince them to come to that. However, that did not materialize in the end.
Yeah.
And that's when Wang Ning was really hurt, I guess, inside. And also logically, in his mind, if I were him, I need to think about, okay, what would work for me if Sunny Angel doesn't come in the future? I need my own IPs.
Yeah.
So that's when he left a note on Weibo and asked the mass population, all the fans in the world out there in China. Weibo is the equivalent of X/Twitter, by the way. If not Sunny Angel, what other IPs would you like to see in Pop Mart store? And guess which name has the most likes? And that was Molly.
Yes. Yeah. A side story on the Sunny Angel part. So when he signed the contract, Sunny Angel actually, I think it was just before Pop Mart got big, they didn't have any negotiation powers. So Sunny Angel actually had the right to refuse their own product to be sold in any shops, any new shops. So say if they open up a new shop in the store, in the mall next door, they have to get Sunny Angel Dreams approval to put Sunny Angel in the shop. Every single shop, they need this approval.
Such a hassle.
Yeah. At some point, Dream said, no, I'm not going to approve this. Because for two reasons. One, I think there's a conceptual difference in terms of Sunny Angels is actually not a blind box. Like they didn't position themselves as a blind box, whereas Pop Mart want to position themselves as blind box. They were kind of the furniture. I think it was equivalent to a furniture company or like things you put on your desk, like your cup holders, your cups, your pencil holders, etc. And then Sunny Angel. Whereas Wang Ning is kind of going, or Pop Mart at that time was already thinking about the art toy concept. So there's a discrepancy in terms of that. And also the previous contract they negotiated with just, why would you have Sunny Angel or Dream have that power to pre-approve every single store opening? From my research, actually mentioned that the Dream, which is the Japan company, actually initiated the contract termination. So Pop Mart was more or less on the receiving end, and that's why they had to urgently get to another IP. But that motivated their shift toward the proprietary IP model. It's like, I need control of everything. Funny fact, now, 2025 H1, we have data around Labubu sales, which is 419 million, right? First half of this year. Guess what is the sales volume of Sunny Angel?
Very small, I guess.
Yeah, 5 million. So about...
Oh, I was going to say 2 million.
Yeah.
Right? What can I say?
Exactly. Yeah, revenge.
Like in Chinese, we have that saying that goes 30年河东30年河西. I don't know how to translate that.
30 years
on the west side of the bank.
And 30 years on this side. So basically, things turn around.
Things turn around.
Yeah. Or in your face.
We still support Sunny Angels.
Yeah, it's still a very good IP. I think it's just corporate decisions.
Yeah, corporate decisions
at that point. Yeah,
for sure.
And nobody knew where Pop Mart.
Yeah, no one could have guessed that Pop Mart actually made it this far.
Yeah,
like there are so many times that it could have just died.
Yeah, and right after, especially right after the contract ending of Sunny Angel, they were cash stranded. They were not able to generate enough money to cover their own costs. And so they had to go back to their investors and ask them for more money. And thankfully, Jing, which Kevin
the retailer,
the Sequoia, later Sequoia story,
right.
They invested in another 20 million RMB, which kind of helped them out a little bit. So old investors actually helped them out. Another side story. This I don't know. Have you watched the Dragon's Den China? Have you got to this
What's
story?
it called?
Dragon's Den China. I forgot the name of it. You know Dragon's Den, where you it's a TV show where entrepreneurs go in and pitch.
Oh
and
yeah. I've seen that one.
So in China,
Sequoia Capital's guy was in it, right? Wang Ning was a different guy.
Yes, different guy. Not
different guy. Not
different
the
guy,
Jing, not the Golden Eagle
is he
guy.
Sequoia? Wang Ning is not.
Wang Ning is from Sequoia.
Oh, okay. So he's an ex-Sequoia partner, but at that time, 2016, when Pop Mart Wang Ning went on the show, he was
offering money.
Yeah, he was offering money, but he was already not in Sequoia anymore. He has his own retail business accelerator at the time. So 2016, they were cash stranded. They got 20 million from one investor. They wanted a little bit more. So on the show, Wang Ning asked for 6 million RMB in exchange for 10% of Pop Mart. 60 million in exchange for 10% of Pop Mart, which was actually on the show. Wang Ning, the investor, actually agreed.
He counter-offered more.
He counter-offered 100 million for 15%, which put their valuation at about 670 million RMB, which is about $90 million. So on the show, he accepted. Right after the show, he revoked. Let me go back to the market cap at that point. If he accepted, it's $90 million US dollars. Today's market cap, 58 billion. 90 million versus 58 billion. There's this saying on internet, everyone feels bad for Wang Ning.
Feels bad for him every time I watch that video.
Yeah.
How did you miss that?
Yeah. And interestingly, again, going back to how Pop Mart's initial investors was constantly helping out the company to move to the next step. How did he get on this show? It was because of the lady we mentioned earlier, Zhou Lixia. She was also one of the investors in the show, but she couldn't invest because she has some stake in it. Yeah. And so she got him on the show, trying to generate more, trying to get more investor attention. Didn't end up doing so. And besides the show, she actually helped him meet 3 to 4 other investors. None of them capitalized.
That's really sad.
Yeah.
And what Wang Ning said in that show, I think I actually agreed with his thesis, which is you're investing in something that has a huge headroom in the next couple decades in China. And if I were you, because I remember Wang Ning asked him, if I were to have that $100 million, how do you want me to use it? And Wang Ning said, you should be buying as many IPs and make it exclusive to you as possible. He's on the right track.
He is.
I can't believe he didn't end up actually investing in this. Such a loss for him.
So he did. There was an interview asking him about his rationales, and he said that there are still things that are preventing him from fully not understanding the investment, but fully trusting this investment, because if you think back to 2016 in China, consumers are not quite there yet compared to Japan or Hong Kong or Korea in putting a valuation, an extra valuation on creative design, especially for non-branded artists. So if you put up a design in a Louis Vuitton or like a Hermes, yes, people are willing to pay premium for it. But for individual artists,
too indie.
Exactly. For the Chinese consumer is a bit early. We're seeing signs of it, but he can't say for sure that it's actually going to happen. Like teenagers are going to spend money on this, right?
He could not have foreseen that Blackpink's Lisa would one day just make it.
And it comes with the average GDP going up with the kids these days having more money in their pockets. I kind of understand how he rejected this. And another reason is copyright protection in China back then.
It was never protected.
Exactly. It's still, I would say it's still behind today, but back then it was just a free-for-all.
True.
So he has some good concerns, but also missed out on a huge opportunity.
On to the blind box phase of Wang Ning's business.
Yeah. Sunny Angels was already blind box. I think that actually started the entire blind box operations.
Right.
But onto the Molly phase.
Yeah. So now we have Molly, right? So now we even possibly have a few more early IPs like Dimu, Skull Panda, all of these familiar names. But to sustain a toy buying behavior for adults, it's a little tricky. In the world of retail, successful retailers aim for high margin or good enough margin and high frequency. Something has to be at good value and you want to buy it continuously. And to be very honest, when I say designer toys to you, does that sound very high margin and very high frequency? High margin, yes.
High margin, maybe lower frequency, unless I'm a collector.
Right. Yeah. Unless you're a very small niche group of people who are just in this and want to collect it. True, that's right. So that's the problem that Wang Ning has to solve at the time, right? Number one, the frequency buying problem. The way that blind box is designed is you don't know what's in it, but in a set, there is a 1 in a 12th chance in a set that you may get a surprise. So 12 times 12, that's 1 out of 144. So that really encouraged the buy behavior, the frequency. Funny story, I have a set of the monster that's lying just right behind us that is being gifted to me. It's not a plush toy. And I had no idea. Oh my God, like I just put it somewhere at the very back of my wardrobe. Can't believe how much value that it has increased. I don't think it's a lot of money, but it's still there. So
I think it's a lot of money. You should go check it out. eBay.
So the blind box behavior really helped with selling frequency. So from buying one, people easily buy multiple, right? And in terms of the increase in margin, Wang Ning said you have to work on the entertainment / the IP making bit. So think about that you're making a star in a company, only that it is a toy's name. He mentioned in the book that we're not just selling products. We want to be selling an emotional connection to our clients. Nowadays, younger people, they rarely buy a piece of just fine art, but you will buy small collectibles that will make you feel good. So the goal is that a feel good, cute image that you come back that, puts you in a good dopamine circle that you will think about it. So think of it like a actual vinyl music store. And he had picked Hong Kong as an early spot for toys, GTM, not just because Molly's designer is Kenny Wong from Hong Kong, but also because Hong Kong and Japan, those places, they have a very long history of soft vinyl, or I don't know how to pronounce it right, but it's sofubi toys. These toys are the early days designer toys, and they are very much formed with communities in Hong Kong and Japan. But typically these are from very independent toy making companies or artist.
Wait, so when you say he started in Hong Kong, you mean he started opening shops overseas in Hong Kong, or he started acquiring IPs in Hong Kong?
Both.
Okay.
He started acquiring IPs in Hong Kong. Kenny and a bunch of other artists, they have been designing vinyl toys for a long time. Kenny has been pretty popular in Hong Kong for a while.
I mean, you mentioned in Weibo, he got the most reply for Molly, which means there's already a big enough
group of people
that likes Molly. So once he signs Molly, it's the chances of this. What Pop Mart did is only turning Molly into a blind box.
That's right.
And so Molly as a popular IP plus the blind box concept is what exploded in 2016-17 period.
That's right.
And the 144 concept is for those of you who never got blind boxes, right? So when
it's very dangerous.
Let me just explain you how to get your first blind box. Okay. So you go to Pop Mart, and then in Pop Mart, you will see shelves where it's in a tray of 12. And you pick a random one, but then you don't know which one it is, but you know which one of the 12 you're going to get. So it's a random one, but you might have your heart set on, like, let's say number 1 to 3. If you get number 4, you'd be like, can I purchase another one so I can try to get my number 1? So that's how they make you repurchase. But the 1 in 144 concept is every 12 boxes, there's another hidden special
edition.
Figure that's not in the box.
In the regular set.
So then that adds value. So obviously, if you really like Molly, you want the 1 in 144. And once you get the 1 in 144, you can resell it on eBay for a much higher price.
Not to keep it to yourself, but to sell it on eBay.
I mean, for both fans of Molly and for people who want to profit, they have an incentive to do this, right?
Yeah.
So it's like blind box is genius. It's gambling, but it's genius.
It's gambling such that it almost caused trouble, right? Like the KFC story.
Let's talk about the KFC story.
The KFC story is ridiculous. You don't know. That figure was featured in a packaged meal with KFC. And of course, someone who loves that figure would go in and want to get the hidden figure, right? That person ended up buying about RMB 10,494 RMB worth of that KFC package just so that that person could get the hidden figure. That's like $2,000 worth of KFCs.
A lot of family meal buckets that they can't consume themselves, right? Did they give it away or did they just throw it?
You know, like that, I don't know. But what came after is the Market Regulation Administration came out and say, oh, hey, guys, we do not encourage this kind of behavior. Please buy responsibly and don't
waste food.
Don't waste food. So that behavior was being called out. Also, Pop Mart was featured in the anti-fraud campaign. One of the other regulation administration was calling that Pop Mart was very much engaged in fraud behavior and make people gamble, like when they buy the blind boxes, which kind of is true. Like when you have the blind box mindset in it.
It is gambling.
It is
gambling. But in very small values and you get something out of it. But the whole concept is you put in money to get something you don't know for sure.
Right. So the State Administration for Regulation came out again and featured them on the March 15th 315晚会 on that show and said that, oh, you cannot be doing gambling behaviors to the consumers anymore. Otherwise, that we will ban you. Like all the other, because it's Market Regulation Administration.
It's huge. 315, so for context, is March 15th, 315, and it's actually... Everybody knows about this in China, right?
Everyone should know this in China. But for those who don't know about this show, it's about calling out the frauds and fakes.
Yeah. It's Consumer Protection Day.
Consumer Protection Day, exactly.
And it's huge because there's a lot of issues in consumer goods.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know Pop Mart made the Consumer Protection Day. That's huge. I think if the administration persisted with their messaging or with the direction of their messaging, Pop Mart would have been gone. So I guess after the whole KFC scandal, after they kind of let go of the bundling package thing, the kind of the administration, the government closed an eye on what happened and was like, okay, fine, you can still sell your blind boxes, but don't bundle and don't make any business decision that can resemble this as to gambling.
That is happening in some countries that Pop Mart is going to these days. You can see the lines. And in some countries, the governments are banning that, you cannot be buying too much Pop Mart. Like that's a thing. And then they have to close the stores early.
With the Labubu phenomenon, right? It's a secondary market that's driving all the regulators crazy because Pop Mart is not getting the secondary market returns at all. It's the people who line up and buy 10 and then resell them for 10 times the price.
And in Chinese terms, we call them the yellow bull, the yellow cow, Wang Ning.
Red Bull, yellow bull, Wang Ning.
Yeah,
okay.
Such difference than Red Bull. But those people are the resellers that arbitrage. Right? Because they have some of the very limited figures and then they know that the market wants it. And some of the yellow bulls, the resellers, they even sell the fake ones at such a higher price. And
that's not good, guys.
Secondary market doesn't really have a lot of regulation and Pop Mart doesn't have any say in that.
I hope it's a one-time thing as Labubu dies down. I think the secondary market will eventually fade and not cause as much havoc because there are a lot of young people out there that would spend thousands of dollars on a Labubu and then to realize 10 months later it's not worth that much. And they're using their parents' money.
By the time that Molly went out in a whole set, the first viral product in 2016, August, was Molly Zodiac. It's a set of 12 figures. They're all very cute. The whole 200 set of toys were sold out in 4 seconds. And that's when Wang Ning know for sure we're on the right track.
We're on the right track.
And this will sell. And then they continue to sell more Molly sets. And later on, they even created the collector's item for Molly. Now you have the 400% and 1000% Molly and sometimes even the
Mega Mollies.
Mega Mollies, and then there's even the Squid Game Mollies and all the special featured Mollies that's specifically designed for collectors who wants to pay more premium price for this. Feels like Bear Brick or Cause. Right? It feels more like designer
The larger
toys.
ones are exactly replicated after Bear Brick, which is the first kind of major global hit for collectors item. But Bear Brick sells for the same price as a Mega Molly, so much, much higher than your standard 7 to 10 centimeter blind boxes. That's another thing that Pop Mart did really well, which is to lower the price for the average collector's item because they used to be very niche and very expensive. So by lowering to like $10 each is more affordable in mass market, but you still try to maintain similar quality and design.
Being able to design for two very different groups of people and both feel happy about what they get.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that brings us to 2017. So 2017, they got Molly as a hit. They're now on the right trajectory. They signed a bunch of IPs. I might be pronouncing this wrong. Satarori from a Korean designer.
I had problem pronouncing that name.
Okay.
Up until right now, I can't pronounce that name.
Right. Well, easier to pronounce is Hirono from Beijing artist Lang. And this is still very popular. And Snowy, which is also from the same artist, but less sales nowadays. And then it started building up its own internal design team to create IPs, and that's actually cheaper than acquiring IPs.
Of course.
So from the internal design team, there's, I might be pronouncing this wrong again, Ziga, Z-S-I-G-A, and Miniko and Crybaby. Crybaby is potentially the next Labubu.
Crybaby is a Thai IP, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Correction. It's not built by their internal team.
I have reasons to believe Crybaby will be the next Labubu.
Yeah. In terms of sales, right? Molly actually at some point, 2018, used to take up 42% of the sales. I'm jumping ahead a little bit here because people are talking about Labubu sustainability and like, is it a one-time thing? Guys, Molly have been a larger part of Pop Mart sales in 2018 than Labubu it is today in Pop Mart sales. So they're way more diversified today than they are 5-7 years ago.
The top 5 IPs collectively contributed about 55% of their entire sales this year. Yeah, so it's really pretty diversified. They won't have a significant loss if one thing take a hit.
Like, if Labubu drops to half of the sales volume, yes, maybe. But at the same time, if you look at Crybaby, which we just mentioned earlier, it went from 1% of sales in 2023 to 9% last year, and it's sustained today. Just as much as you would think an IP would fall from everyone's favor, there's an equal opportunity of another IP taking its place. And given its vast amount of IPs and the fact that they're constantly sourcing new ones from trade shows like toy shows every year, I think it's not long. We don't know when, but it's not long until we hit the next Labubu.
True. Yeah. And I think this is a perfect point to touch upon their IP management strategy, which is, I guess in plain terms, to keep the entire IP to a manageable size, aka less than 100. They call it to increase the depth and to reduce the width of the SKUs. For reducing the widths, that's very easy to understand because every single year, because they create so many IPs and they also manage so many new IPs that's acquired from other people, there must be better performing ones and lower performing ones. And I'm assuming they probably have more metrics to track instead of just the sales revenue and the profit, maybe other engagement rate as well.
Yeah, they have an intense forecasting model.
For sure. Yeah. Oh, for sure. But for the well established IPs that they've been working on for a while, I think for those IPs, what they need to do is very much like Disney. They have to increase the layers of that IP at whatever front, whether it's in the park, whether it's in their storefront. They have to create new scenarios of how that IP can be reapplied to increase the engagement with the user. And I think that strategy itself is really producing the result that they want. Currently, they still keep their IPs to 100, but in 2019, their sales revenue six-folded than 2015.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but all that's 100 IP. That's increasing the efficiency of the IPs that they're selling, which is really smart.
Yeah, actually, this at this point, I really like the discovery, IP discovery to sales process. This is one of the things that made me a Pop Mart fan. That made me stay up to 2 a.m. trying to purchase a Labubu.
You're so niche. You're like, I want to buy a Labubu, not because it looks nice, because of the supply chain. Yes. It's just so cool. Such a nerd.
The supply chain is...
I just want to have this baby of perfect supply chain that looks in pink plush for... Oh my goodness. Jeez. Okay. Yes. Go tell that story.
It's so smart. Okay. Maybe I find it smart because I've never worked in the retail industry. But when you look at a Labubu, you don't think about everything that goes behind.
You don't. You just think about Labubu, that song.
Yeah. Labu. Okay. Anyways, so supply chain, or how do they go from discovery to market? At this stage, they have a pretty sophisticated system. They first have an artist discovery team of over 20 people. So that includes like former trend community bloggers and editors, so people who are in the industry who knows, kind of like your fashion scouts, but for the pop art.
For the art, for the toy.
Right, for the art toy. The team then looks out for new talent at international exhibitions and through partnerships with top art colleges.
Such a fun job to do.
I know, like look for the new Labubu every year. And Pop Mart actually has their own pop toy show, which is in Beijing. We missed it. We can go to next year's. It's nearby. So they have their pop toy show where they kind of get artists to come in, and then that would be their chance to meet everyone. So that's how they got Demu. That's how they got Skull Panda, which is one of their top 10, which are both their top 10, and they're all signed at the pop toy show. Then they try to get exclusive deals, learning from Sunny Angel. So once they have an artist identified, Pop Mart try to secure the agreement where the artist can still be the owners of the IP, but some powers are given to Pop Mart in terms of product design.
And once it's in the format of a toy, then that right is exclusively with Pop Mart, like MCN kind of.
It's a mix. Yeah, it's a mix. So the artist still gets a lot of say, and I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of artists pick Pop Mart rather than its competitors, because they feel like they're still being respected rather than, oh, I'm a company that's gonna buy your IP and change everything.
I have one. It feels like IKEA.
Oh,
yeah, IKEA collects designers and put it in the IKEA showroom first, and then like they keep the design and they sell, and the IP owners will have a much better brand. Yeah. It's a very similar format.
So it's similar to that, but then Pop Mart supplements the artist with the production team, with the product design team, so that the artist might not be aware of how a Labubu might look like with the furs, right? Or how or they don't have enough data to say, oh, consumer likes, this brown versus this brown. And in fact, actually, Labubu, if you look at the first generation until now, there's slight changes.
Oh, so many changes.
Yeah,
to just look at that. Yeah.
because of the collaboration between the artists as well as the product and design team and the data team in Pop Mart. But artists actually still maintain the right to say no when there's collaboration. So say if Pop Mart thinks that it's a good idea to have a Labubu cross over Coca-Cola, the designer can still say no. With that, they sign an exclusive deal, and then the product team within Pop Mart start doing design, start doing ideas. What is very interesting here is that, and this is the part I'm the most impressive about, is on a regular basis, this team will actually have a product proposal where they suggest market trends, where they put in a PPT, market trends. Yes, everything is, it's a corporate. It's not all about Labu, right? So you would have a committee that looks at the marketing plan, looks at the pricing plan. The committee votes as to, is this something I want to pursue, and this is called like a demo day, right? So if voted, then you'll get, as a product team, resources to start a light production batch.
It's like a prototype run.
Prototype batch. This prototype is then brought to something called the order meeting, where all the channels, channel GMs, store GMs, regional GMs, everyone who's actually in charge of sales comes in, and they would look at the demo. No, not vote.
Oh, okay.
They will actually fill in the order commitments.
Oh.
So me, as someone who is the Beijing GM, I'll look at this thing in front of me and say, okay, I can commit to this much. And because it's built into their KPIs, both sales and inventory, the GMs the sales team have to be very thought out, right? They have to be more or less conservative. So it's not, and I'm comparing this to a lot of sales teams where where the target just gets assigned to you at the beginning of the year, beginning of the quarter, based on some like random
historical data.
Exactly. So they actually give a lot of power to the sales team to
how much you can
confirm whether I believe this is fulfillable in my store. So it's not all power to product, right? It's equal power to product and sales. And only when sales commit, then mass production goes on, and then you have this 6 to 12 month cycle. And the 6 to 12 month cycle, everyone was like, why is Labubu out? It's because it's not, you just can't print Labubus overnight, guys. Like a lot of the production process is not as automated as you think.
Yeah.
The cheeks are manually stamped. Okay.
I love that you're getting onto that detail of the cheeks are getting stamped.
Yeah, the cheeks are. I'm not surprised. I thought it would be, all automated. Apparently, they have to train people to stamp the cheeks, and if you can't have it too rosy and less. Anyways,
and different colors comes in different prints. You have to stamp it differently.
Exactly. So it's it's mostly automated, but there are parts, and there's like QA, and they're big on QA as well. So everything takes a bit longer than just, we're going to order, 100,000 more. Can you make it tomorrow?
As a factory nerd myself, I've also picked up a few lines in that book about Wang Ning, about the manufacturing plants. He compared the manufacturing plants in China versus the one that he's got in Vietnam. And then the reason that he prefers Vietnam factory It's not because of the production level, but because for those people who are working in Dongguan and Shenzhen, they're coming to that specific place to live there. So the factory will have to build out the dorm rooms and
Migrant
the
workers.
facilities and all the infrastructure as well. So that increases the cost. But if you're in Vietnam, typically it's just around a village and you're getting people who are in that proximity to work in that place. Every day when the work is done, they just go home. So that reduces the cost of building all the other infrastructure. And for holidays, they also have the Lunar New Year, not the Chinese New Year, the Lunar New Year. And they typically just take 4 or 5 days off. And after the 4 or 5 days, 98% of the people come back to work, which is, much higher.
Which is different from China. Everybody just disappears after that.
For 2 weeks.
It's really, it's actually a huge issue getting workers back after Chinese New Year for Chinese manufacturing.
Yeah.
It's been like a long time issue.
So I think with that, I do feel like a lot of thoughts into details. I'm really quite shocked to learn that Wang Ning is putting into so much ideas, not only just to the bigger picture of how this is going to be strategized around all the continents, but down to the details on how I'm going to run my factories and how am I going to design my stores and train the people.
He's such a fussy person about it.
He is like, he designed 2 stores himself and he's so picky about like the small things that goes everywhere.
Yeah, like he fixed, was there a story about him fixing
the
light
land,
bulbs?
the light bulbs, yeah. They're just, do you want to go share that story?
No, it's just like the tone of, I wouldn't be able to tell, but the tone of light is slightly darker than we expected. Let's up this, or let's add the yellow or white brightness of it. Let's change the music.
The temperature of the light is not up to standard that he wanted, such that he wants to change it to a warmer temperature. And he's such a decoration freak. He doesn't allow all the lights to be changed, to be fixed on site. He only allows the light to be changed to a new one, and the broken ones will be delivered to a central facility to be fixed and to be sent back, because he thinks that retail, if you're in store fixing it, that shows that you're not professional.
What if you do it after closing?
I have to, like maybe that's extra cost for like a retailer.
Maybe, but he's the one that made this successful, so maybe there's something to it. Maybe the folks that go in do care about all the layout and all the little intricate details that you unconsciously think about or don't think about. That makes you like a Pop Mart store. And I mean, I'm attracted to Pop Mart storefronts.
They're cute.
People would just go in while shopping.
They're inviting and well lit.
Yeah.
It's not the kind of creepy toy store that you're like, maybe not. Yeah. Yeah. But, honestly, I've also came across in 2017, they had a little incident that, did you read about that logistics event, the shipwreck? Okay, so during the Double 11 shopping festival in 2017, which is a shopping festival that's like our Chinese Black Friday, Pop Mart decided to give out a blind box package, but randomized. You pay $1.99 and you may get a package that includes anywhere between 3 blind boxes to 8 blind boxes. But
$1.99 kwai?
$1.99 kwai, yeah. But the 8 blind boxes, it could be like a shuffle of all different IPs. So if it's more expensive and the important ones, you may get just 3, but if it's, some other randomized things, you may get 8. So it's very, very much shuffled around.
To clean out our inventory.
Clean out inventory kind of behavior, exactly. So everything went perfectly smooth, the planning, the campaign, the ordering, and they were so proud of it. They actually sold about 10 million RMB in a day, but then the shipping was a mess. One day after shipping, they appeared number 1 in 热搜, which is, I guess, X or
Hot
Twitter. Hot trending topics, but in a very negative way.
Oh, okay.
Because everyone who, after that one day of shipping, only received boxes of 3. They did not receive anything else. So there were buyers leaving messages on Weibo, where are the 5, 6, 7, and 8 boxes? Like, how come we not received any of it? They packaged those orders in the 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 orders, and then the 3 one got fulfilled the fastest. So they shipped out those fastest and forgot that, actually we should have done this proportionally to all the things. And in the annual year-end reunion for the corporate senior executives, the guy who was in charge of that shipping, Wang Ning did not fire him at all. But Wang Ning just in a very loving way described that guy was born in 1983. It's a hard, solid guy. He was crying because he messed this up.
It's like during your Christmas party, some guy was crying because I shipped the 3 boxes first rather than the 7 boxes.
Right.
Oh my God.
So I think that shows that Wang Ning is a very good senior executive because he really tolerated everything that possibly went wrong, and then he take the credentials and responsibilities for that.
I think it's normal to tolerate that. It's a one-time mistake. And if the guy has been working like diligently the whole year, if the guy cried about it, that means he really cares.
For sure.
And so it actually feels like they have a pretty good management team, if that's my takeaway.
Yeah. So the other story you want to talk about is Sequoia Capital.
Sequoia Capital. So that goes back to 2017. They have Molly as a hit already, and they are looking at the next stage, which is more funding and eventually IPO. So one of the steps they took is listing themselves on the OTC market. So Wang Ning said actually by 2017, they had enough cash flow. They were not in need of any capital injections anymore. Makes sense. But remember how we mentioned earlier that Kevin Su, as the CEO of Jingyin, actually made some investment.
Golden Eagle Retail Group, yes.
Retail Group, and then the retail group dumped the investment.
Completely.
Sukai moved to Sequoia. Sukai was trying to convince Neoshin, who had Sequoia at the time, that this is a good investment. Neoshin's like, yes, this is a good investment. Give me some stocks. And then Sukai goes back to Wang Ning and team, and the Wang Ning and team says, we don't need money right now.
Now is a different time.
We're not sure. But because actually he has the Pop Mart survived, right? Solely because of the support of early on investors. And so you can't just kick them in the back once they're successful. So out of this old relationship and out of the fact that actually Jingyin made a big difference in Pop Mart's early days, I think Wang Ning accepted this new round of investment. That was my part of the story, but I think you might have.
No, I've listed the same storyline, but here my question goes, did Sequoia actually invest in them or not at the end of the day? Question mark.
They did. Of course they did.
Okay.
They're still one of the largest shareholders.
Yeah. So now I think it's consolidated. Like I marked down that Sequoia definitely invested, and Golden Eagle Retail Group has cleaned out all of their shares.
Yeah, and Sequoia, I think, actually invested in 2 rounds. The latest one being 2019, probably a year before the IPO. So definitely made a killing on the Pop Mart stocks. Yeah, and thanks all to Kevin Su.
Yeah. Good time to join as well. We're now at 2019, right? Things are actually about to go a little dicey. Or a little tricky, as in while they're going for global expansion, there's 2 things. Well, first is they are going to saturate the Chinese market. They're going to put their stores anywhere. They had a plan. The geo-prioritization goes, if you conquer 4 provinces with the largest amount of population, then you probably conquered everything, and then you go to all the tier 1 cities, and then you go international. And Justin had also joined in 2018.
Right.
So all good. But then COVID hit. It was a terrible time for retail store.
Yes.
In terms of social media strategy, Pop Mart is still very much like leading up front. They're using TikTok, and in their financial report, they're also mentioning that we're doing very well on all the social media. So the socials are all occupied. They're doing well, and UGC is...
Their WeChat app. Yeah. Everything online is great.
Everything online is great. But the... what did COVID do to Pop Mart's numbers? So starting from 2021, if you look at their market cap, all the way from 2020 to 2023, you can't really see any up and downs.
They went down and then they went up, I think.
It's all like, all
it was like
small ups and small downs and flat in general before 2024, right?
Yeah, I think right after IPO, December 2020, they had the same market cap as mid 2024.
That's right. That's right. March 2021, that's when they started to really go down. Their inventory turnover went from 78 days to 128 days. In 2022, their whole year revenue only increased about 2.8%. However, the operating profit went down by 50%. And foot traffic also went down by a lot. And the inventory turnover went from 128 days to 160 days, which is even worse. So that's why I guess they have to develop a very aggressive online strategy of, how do I still get people to buy online? How do I engage? And that's when they really went all in on UGC and TikTok business.
Yeah. And just to note that their revenue is actually increasing. It's just the cost of serving during COVID was so much higher.
So high, yeah.
They did one thing that's genius. And I don't know if this happened before COVID or after, but RoboShops.
The RoboShops.
The RoboShops are absolute genius. Because I passed by the subway the other day and I stopped by. And do you know you can order to home now?
Really?
On the RoboShop, on the vending machine.
Oh, okay.
You can order like Mega Molly's home.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, of course you would do that. Did you do that?
No, there's a queue.
Oh. Really?
Yeah.
Which one of the subway stations? Sanqiao? Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I couldn't find a Labubu, so I left.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Please restock.
You were looking to find a Labubu in a RoboShop app?
So the online forum said that there are occasional restocks. So if you line up for restocks, you might be able to get a Labubu.
Okay. Wow. You've done that much research.
I know.
Speaking of RoboShops and online, it's worth to mention that they had an app, but
WeChat or the
App Store app.
Okay, so the global expansion app.
The global expansion app. Yes, that's right. Okay, let's talk about global expansion. So global expansion app, they had that idea for a long time. Actually, I think since 2019 or 2020, they've had the initial form of that app. But I think what they've always struggled with is who are the ideal users for that app? Are we just doing complete new user acquisitions, or are we trying to service the existing users and have them to buy more of the figurines? So for me, that was always a bit confusing. But that app did go from very low rating to okay rating right now.
I don't know if 2.2 is okay. Like
it has improved.
Okay.
But more room for improvement.
If you read the comment section, it's pretty underwhelming.
You can't be good at everything, right? Like
it's true.
Yeah.
As someone who has a foreign passport who lives in China, I need to complain about the Chinese apps. Like it just lacks of consideration of a lot of edge scenarios.
You mean the mini app or the global app?
Every single app.
Okay.
Alipay. Alipay didn't have a passport option.
Okay.
Until 2018. And so I'm not that surprised that Pop Mart failed at creating a app for the global audience. But I would like to see Pop Mart fix this problem soon. Because I think it's just different standards. Because they've been developing a successful WeChat mini program for years. And it's been great, right?
It's very easy to use.
Yeah. And you just somehow can't replicate that into a native Android app or Apple Store app. Remember how, just to recap, we talked about how many times the company pivoted from like a gift shop to Sunny Angel to their own IP, Molly, all the way to international expansion. And when they started international expansion with Justin Moon joining in 2018, the initial plan was actually to formulate partnerships and JVs. So because they don't have the capacity or the know-how to make it abroad, their first initial market was obviously Korea, where Justin knows the most, and also Singapore. And so they established JVs, and their partners actually managed the shop openings and everything. When they realized that in Seoul, their shop made a lot of revenue and they want to expand quickly, their partner quickly said, we don't have that amount of cash and resources. And the team came back and said, well, we do. So how about doing this ourselves? 2021-2022 period is when they actually shifted again their foreign franchising strategy and turned it into everything self-owned. which is a great call because now is when kind of TikTok and everything is really huge. So they're still partnering with platforms like Shopee and Lazada in Southeast Asia, but they run their own TikTok operations, and that generated most of the buzz, right? And they now run all the retail shops themselves, which I think initial investment is quite high, but I think in the long run, for someone who's as meticulous as Wang Ning, you want to keep everything standardized and under your control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is also better for the overall branding as well, because if you were to franchise, that almost means that you're licensing someone to use your logo separately.
Yeah.
And if anything were to go wrong, you as the ultimate logo owner will still have to be responsible for the thing that the franchise have done wrong.
It's not exactly franchise. It's like a JV,
JV
where Pop Mart still has a say, but you're giving a lot of control
to the local
someone
GM,
else.
right? To someone else.
Company structure wise, they made sure that Pop Mart owns everything. They still give their GMs a lot of power today, just like as they did domestically with the whole order process.
Right.
90% of their GMs are actually locals from that company instead of sending someone Chinese over.
Yeah.
Which is a great call because I think somebody mentioned that in China, if you go to a Pop Mart store or in Thailand, the SOPs are so rigorous that you would expect someone to memorize Labubu's backstory in every single store and spit it back to you. Whereas in the US, that is definitely not something you can expect from a teenager who's working at a shop, right?
Yeah.
Or anyone who's working at a shop. That's just not standard. It's like you're not expected. You're not expected to memorize everything. You're not expected to always wear a uniform. So actually having the local touch is working for them in the short run.
Yeah.
Really good on retention.
The localized bit, you can even observe that in some of the provinces in China. I've recently been to the Lhasa store of Pop Mart, and guess what? It's localized. It from the outside, it almost looks like a Dune version of Pop Mart. It's all like in sand colors.
Oh, okay. This is Tibet, by the way. Lhasa
this is Tibet, yes. Yeah. And when you go in, like there's obviously Labubu is sold out
Tibet
as well.
Labubu.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like everything has a little Tibetan touch to it.
Aww.
Yeah, that's how localized it is.
How
and
come we're not seeing like Beijing Labubus?
what will that look like?
The Emperor Labubu.
Even for their international workforce, Justin said out of the close to 600 people who works for the international division for Pop Mart, 150 are Chinese and all the others are local staff.
Yeah. Because I think the GMs who are mostly local gets to have a final say in hiring. It just makes sense to hire local. Like it's not... Actually, Pop Mart is probably the first major Chinese IP export or Chinese company IP export.
I think so.
So I'm comparing this to the Psy moment, the Gangnam Style moment for Korea. It kicked off everything. I feel like Labubu is Psy. No, but like follow this, right? So Psy started and it put K-pop on the map. K-pop didn't really kick off for a few more years until Blackpink and BTS. But you see this trajectory whereas similarly, there was no Chinese IP that managed to hit international market.
Jackie Chan, but that was different.
Right.
Yeah, it's not the same.
But there's no consumer goods.
Yeah, consumer goods.
Or any. Yeah. So I feel like this is a pivotal moment in history.
Pivotal moment. Wow. Okay. That elevated really fast. Okay. Definitely.
You just wait until like 4 years later, right? Like Blackpink. You never expected this to happen when you're listening to, I don't know, DBSK.
Also, speaking of Blackpink, why don't we just quickly talk about Blackpink and Labubu?
Yes.
So that we can clean out this whole section. We've been mentioning about this the whole episode without giving an idea to everyone.
Because we figure everyone knows.
Yeah, everyone knows who set Labubu on this wildfire that just run across the entire globe.
Lisa from Blackpink. and if you don't know this fact,
go to YouTube
or TikTok or Instagram. You're living under a rock. I'm sorry. No, sorry.
Yeah.
But Lisa posted 2 stories. I think was it on Instagram? I don't recall the exact channel, but she first had a story or a reel where she hugged a huge Labubu, and then she had another mini Labubu that, not the mini one, but the small one where she clipped on her bag, and those set off Labubu as an international superstar.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa.
Right. So in 2023, I think it's in September, if I remember everything correctly. So Lisa was featured on Vanity Fair, and you can find that video on YouTube right now. It is the story of Lisa just casually telling the audience how much she is obsessed with Labubu, holding various Labubus and opening up boxes of different colors of Labubu. That, I think, was definitely the first wave of how Labubu hits the world. So in 2023, before Lisa, Labubu only account for 5.8% of the entire sales. And after that, oh my goodness, how much is the Labubu sales in 2024?
The Monster series, which is mainly Labubu, was 368
million RMB, yep.
RMB in 2023, and that went up to 3 billion in 2024. So slightly less than 10 times, maybe nine times, and then that went up again. So the first half of 2025 alone was 4.8 billion. Yeah.
Wow.
So if assuming the exact same sales is probably going to grow, assuming the exact same sales is going to hit $10 billion of Labubu sold this year.
Right.
Can you imagine?
Cannot.
Yeah.
Cannot.
Thank you, Lisa. And I think it spiraled, but then back then someone estimated. So Lisa's, from all the sources I've been in touch with, Lisa did this for free, just out of her love for Labubu. And but then she actually got to know about Labubu because of all the TikTok and all the unboxing that have been promoted in Thailand. So Southeast Asia was the first region that global expansion happened for Pop Mart. So I guess that promotion led to Lisa's love. Lisa's love led to everybody else's love.
Right.
So each one of her posts is valued at almost $100,000 each one of her posts, and she did it for free.
Wow.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with the entire monster family, Labubu is only one of it. There is also Zimomo and Mokoko and Taikoko, like all of them. There are quite a lot. And the video that I sent you this noon is a dancing Zimomo in the Popland park in the middle of Beijing that we shall for sure make a visit. And that park is completed in the year 2023. Also been through a lot of administrative issues of how they can be leveraging and using all the existing resources while putting all the popular IPs in it. But judging by all the red note post, I feel like this is a park for pretty much just Labubu for now. There are so many of them.
I think when it was set up in 2023, it was still Molly.
Yeah,
Molly was the star, and then I guess this year Labubu took over. Labubu was created by Kaising, but Kaising is Hong Kong born and Netherlands raised.
Right. Okay.
And that's why Labubu's Nordic.
Is Nordic. Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Okay. That's why in the park there is a Nordic girl dancing with Zimo. That all explains. Okay, that I'm like, why is that Viking girl dancing with Labubu? Like, doesn't make sense.
Supposedly inspiration coming from Nordic folklore. So for those of you who are interested, if you look at the original Labubu that's drawn by Kaising in 2015, it looks very different from today's Labubu, and it does look, I guess, a little bit more
like a monster,
Nordic folklore monster. Yeah,
a little hairy brown-haired monster.
Yeah. Now it's just cute.
Yeah, now it's just really cute with different colors and
9 teeth.
Yeah.
If the fixed ones are 10 if you want to tell them apart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. And now if you want to enjoy a 360 degrees surrounded by Labubu dancing around for you, you can get a ticket for 88 kwai, which is about $10.
You have to first fly to Beijing.
You will have to first fly to Beijing and enjoy the Popland close to Chaoyang Park. You can even wait for a human-sized Labubu or Zimomo dancing around you, and obviously with Viking girls around as well. Another fun fact, when the park is being made, they were putting the toy figures into real human-sized costumes.
Yes.
And they were deciding that, oh, now it's a moving figure. What should they sound like? For Dimu and Labubu, they've tested out a few voices/sounds for them and let the designer for Dimu pick which one of the sounds should belong to Dimu, like a human sound. And for Labubu, they decided that, oh, it should not have a human sound. It should just make the sound, boo-boo. So, yeah, that's how Labubu it is today.
I think that was actually a conscious decision, knowing that actually I might talk about how Pop Mart is super data-oriented, and that's another reason why I fell in love with them. But this decision, I bet, is data-backed.
For sure.
If I have to guess. And the rationale behind it, as someone else explains it, is when you create an IP without a story background, without a narrative, so it's not a Mickey Mouse, right? It's more of a Hello Kitty. Everyone has their own conception of what Labubu should sound like.
Sure.
And so as the creator, if you give it a sound, a voice, it might not be what everyone has created in their mind, and therefore your popularity may decline.
You will lose fans.
Yeah, who thinks Labubu shouldn't sound this way.
True.
But you're safer going with Boo Boo. It's like Pika Pika, right? Like if Pikachu talked. Wait, actually Pikachu did talk in the movie, but yeah.
But yes,
yeah.
the logic is very sound.
Yeah,
Pika Pika is a much safer choice than making Pikachu talk. In
exactly.
sounds.
So it's a data-oriented decision.
Yeah.
Speaking of data-oriented decisions, so did you know that Pop Mart does A/B tests?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so they do it very subtly, but so they A/B test everything from store layout to product placement to subtle changes on the face of Labubu. So for example, if you compare Labubu from 2 years ago to now, you will have less rosy cheeks, the skin color is fairer, the chestnut hair is turning a little bit more creamy white. And
wow.
Molly originally was more of a pouting Molly because of, if you go back to the IP story,
it is pouting.
Yeah, the girl is quite angry. The designer designed this Molly out of an actual girl.
But now it's more neutral.
And it was pouting, and now it's happy. Mollys are more happy nowadays because consumer likes happy Molly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And they also did other things, which is if you you haven't made a purchase, but if you do make a purchase, on the receipt, you'll get a QR code that leads you to the WeChat store.
Oh.
Yeah. So
full conversion circle.
Conversion. And because they learned this during the pandemic. So if you make a purchase online, they'll find ways to make you go offline to pick it up. If you make a purchase offline, they will
put you online.
At least they'll have the receipts, and there's clear SOPs that people follow. So if you do make a purchase, the cashier will for sure ask you if you're a member, and if you're not, here's a QR code that you can scan to become a member.
I've actually done this because I bought the gift for a friend and the friend's girlfriend, Mama. And I was trying to, this is impossible. I was trying to buy Labubu very last minute and realized there's no way that you can get it. But when I was at the cashier, they asked me, oh, are you a member? I'm like, can I say no?
It's a standard SOP.
It's free. And then, so they keep asking me, like, do you want to become a member? Do you want to scan that code? So I think it's very well enforced.
Which is why in China, the purchase from members are 92%. The repurchase from members are like
half,
somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So they
good SOPs. Yeah.
But so another side story. I read way too much about Labubu's. Wang Ning's wife actually complained that initially when they were trying to set up the shop, he downloaded the Uniqlo SOP and forced all the executive management to read it, and everyone's like, and this is before they went on this MBA and everything trajectory of formalizing SOP and management. Everyone was just like, why are we reading this 100-page SOP from Uniqlo?
Just for fun.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, Wang Ning really seems to be a fan of system. And data. And he loves the small details while holding the structure together. Him being able to achieve what he has today also sparked competition in the same segment. He almost lifted a whole ecosystem of toys. Would you say that? Art toys? So the new contenders to the games are, maybe you're familiar with the names, 52 Toys and Top Toy.
Yes.
All of their stores, you can see them sometimes door to door with Pop Mart these days in some of the shopping malls.
They're the competitors.
Yeah, but nowhere close to what Labubu is right now.
Nowhere close,
Yeah, long game. It's a long game to play.
Yeah. Should we summarize like what are the success factors and where do we think Pop Mart is going?
One of the things that I had very strong impressions after I read the book about Wang Ning, he said something about functionality versus aesthetics. And he went, if you plug the head of Molly and out comes an USB drive, would you still want to buy 12? You will maybe just buy one. He also said that art always thrived and existed for a longer time than functional items, because when you go into the museums, whatever you see, most of them are functionless. These are designs and art. But if you design something that is of high functional value, those functions will be evolved and will be eliminated and will be replaced. That's what he said. So that's why he is all in on art. He's just so logical, I'd say.
As someone who owns the art.
Yeah, as someone who owned and also invested in some of the art establishments, but some of them failed. The one that we just talked about, Moo Museum, right? And also Soul Stage. Well, Soul Stage is still there, but
they went on an investment spree after they got their IPO money. Most of them failed. They stopped, thankfully. But they did extend into other things. So part of their IPO funding was supposed to be extending into new investment areas. So Popland was one. They're doing this really cool thing. I don't know if you've seen high-end collectible. So each of the blind boxes is like $10, right? But they have Buzz Lightyear and Superman, which are high-end, and they're over $100 each. So they're getting into that territory.
Wow.
And they're going into blocks like Lego blocks and then art galleries and these kind of stuff.
You see, that's one of the two companies that he really liked. Wang Ning mentioned that he appreciated two companies. One designed the best system, and then the other one had their own language. One is Lego and the other one is Disney.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I think he himself is trying to recreate, but in his own way, what is a good system? What does that look like? AKA looking at the SOPs 100 pages long of Uniqlo. How do I design a system that people will continue to like and continue to buy? And Disney, what are some of the IPs that will sustain for 60, 80 years and people will still want to use it? So I think first, Wang Ning is one of a kind. Not only he has artistic drives all the way from college that we can see that he has done something that's very different than other entrepreneurs. Like he went into a wildly not so sexy segment, which is retail, but turned it into such a sexy thing later on. The way that he turned it into such a sexy thing is he put it with good system, and he was able to learn so fast. Obviously with the mentor, with the investor who joined Wang Ning's investment early on, who pointed him the direction that, you can't just be managing 1,000 IPs. Here is a system. Go learn it. Go shrink your inventory and make it work. And he absorbed, and he was able to pick up so many people around him. He must be a charismatic person such that he can get a team to work with him. So it sounds like he is the recipe of everything. Like he is the right person to do this business. And if anyone were to ask me, are you a fan of Pop Mart? I don't think that question even matters to me right now, because the way that Wang Ning is managing this business, I think is the right way of managing the business.
Definitely. I'm also very much pro Pop Mart, in case you haven't realized in the past 2 hours.
Cheeks.
but more logically, right? Obviously, I talked about the main concern about Pop Mart's trajectory, which is its sustainability. And we gave various arguments about going from Sunny Angel to Molly to Labubu to maybe Crybaby and more others. That's already diversification by itself. Labubu to the international audience is Pop Mart, but it's really, there's Molly way before Labubu, and there's Crybaby and other things that are going to pop up after, not only in the blind box, but they're investing in everything else that they said they were going to invest early on. It wasn't like, oh, we have a lot of cash now, let's do this. Everything they planted the seed of this year was coming from decisions they talked about before. And making Pop Mart into a Disney is something that has been talked about by the team for 10 years, right? And they're still on this trajectory. So generally positive. I think all the stuff, all the pivots they've done, all the learnings they have from investors basically second that opinion. So as long as they can continue holding this team together with the same group of people, going down this trajectory, I would have full faith in seeing a lot more of Pop Mart in the future.
I am still a Jellycat fan, but I'd say like I would give Pop Mart a fan. How about this? Let's just go to the Pop Land Park together.
Yeah.
And
That's what I need.
Let's go dance with Labubu together.
If I can't get a Labubu, I need to at least see one.
Yeah. Like the dance is so on point. Did you see the video? It's so good. Everything is like to the beat. Oh, she's like so flexible in that fluffy suit.
I'm sure there's an SOP behind it.
Oh my God, this is hilarious. All right.
Yeah. Hope you enjoyed this episode. I definitely enjoy researching this episode.
Are you a fan of Pop Mart? If yes, what do you love? If not, why are you still not yet a fan?
I know.
Yeah, tell us what you think. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye. The retailer will, the store, what's it called?
The hub, the Pop Mart, the Robo Shop, or the offline shop.
So 那个收银员
The cashier.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh my God.
Okay, let me go.